This is a priority broadcast from the edge of time. Our world is burning. Our science has failed. Our armies are gone. We have one chance left. Welcome to the night shift.
What's up, chat? Hey, everybody. Can you hear me? Let's see here. Everybody's having audio problems.
I think, Andy, we have a problem technically, so we may just have to go live with Megan on the ground.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear the music, Ross?
Yes, I can.
Hey guys, if you're joining us, really joining me, it's just me. I'm doing a super last minute, totally off the cuff, mostly unplanned live reaction video to this James Fox UFO press conference on the Varginha, Brazil case. It's coming up, and so they're streaming it on News Nation. And if you're not watching it on News Nation, their audio is all jacked up right now. So they're trying to sort it out. And I would just like to point out that this happens to everybody. So it's not just me.
But we will be running the press conference live in a few minutes when it starts. And this is an opportunity for the direct first-hand witnesses of what was allegedly the...
So, Ross, can you hear me? I can hear you now. I would love to show some people some behind-the-scenes things that are going on. I've got right here next to me, I've got James Fox with Sarah Graham. James, say hi to Ross.
Hey, Ross.
There he is.
We are live streaming.
The Brazilian Senator Joel. I have to, we laughed about it. He just arrived, so
We're doing great. We're doing good. Good luck, James. Yep, we are nice and smooth. All right, we've got James Fox in the room. You guys, the three witnesses who are testifying in person today, they are also here. I have a picture of two of them. I'm going to turn the camera. Oh no, just one of them. We have Carlos over here in the hat. As you know, Carlos was on the scene when the crash happened. Is it just my picture live now?
Yes.
So as you guys know, this case is extremely complex, and I was lucky enough to be invited by James Fox last night to the rehearsal of this press conference. I got to see these men and get up there and give their statements as they are written.
This audio is awful, guys. It's really bad. Hey guys in the chat. Hey Pavel. Pavel knew there would be issues. Well, yeah, there's no internet in this place. Like, everybody's trying to live stream. They really need to plan better for that. We'll come back in a second. They're doing the best they can with a phone, like trying to stream over a phone. It's crazy. Cosmic Serpent, not surprised if someone is interfering with this. I don't know. I don't think it's interference. I think it's just a bunch of people all trying to use a limited amount of available bandwidth for something that's exciting. And it is. What a shit show. Yeah. Psionic Man. Maybe the solar storm is causing issues too. Is there a solar storm? I didn't plan on doing one of these today. So this was just kind of a last minute thing. I was like, well, it's going on today. I thought I would save it for tomorrow, but let's go back and see what it looks like on the floor. I was going to save it for tomorrow, but then I thought, well, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Hey, Justin's here. Hey, Justin. Spooks squelch it. There is a solar storm for sure. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit here.
One of the beings and received a scratch under his armpit. And because of that scratch, ended up dying 26 days later. So he did the autopsy on this young man that died. And he's saying that there were no pharmaceuticals at the time to treat this infection. The biologics there are not human. They are not from this world. Even today, 30 years later, of continuing to study this man's tissue, of what was in his tissue, there's still not an antibiotic that exists that could treat this or prevent this because it is not human.
Okay. So interesting. So Megan just said she was explaining about the soldier that captured the Varginha being by hand and then kind of wrestled it into a net. I guess they got it with a net somehow. This guy gets a hold of it. It scratches him, and he dies less than 30 days later of this massive biological, infection. This just insane infection that they can't treat with anything. And one of the things that I've been looking at lately, I don't want to get into too much detail here, but it's for another project that I'm working on, is a person who was saying that it's the biological warfare applications that they're really interested in. It is the bacteria and the viruses and all of it. It's the plot of Alien, right? That's really what they're after. It's one of the reasons why they're so aggressive with getting out there and securing every single little thing. When I interviewed James a few weeks ago, he said that they were trying to exhume the body of the guy who died of the alien bacteria, and they wanted to look and see if his remains had any residual traces of this stuff. But there was some kind of, I guess there was another grave right next to it or right on top of it or something. They couldn't get to this guy without going through this other process. And so that's an ongoing thing.
Move my camera around and I will just give you a big 360 view of what is going on. So here we've got like the backstage area. I am in the front row. Hello, there's my head. There's everyone all behind me. Our News Nation photographer is behind me.
That's a significant turn. That's an impressive bunch of
we got
people.
some people waving. And then we have the stage, of course, right here. And then we have James is getting ready to walk onto the stage with one of the translators. So it is a significant turnout. And funny, this morning, I was at the News Nation DC Bureau at about 8 a.m. and our photographer, who is here in the back, called me and said,
"What is with that audio? Why is it going burp, burp, burp?"
Waiting to come in.
These events now are crazy. There's so many people.
Okay, so here we go.
We're going to get started. Thank you guys so much for coming. Behind schedule. Just
It's a pleasure to see you guys here.
Thank you guys so much for coming. It's a pleasure to see you guys here.
So James just said, if no, you guys are not here. They're just a few minutes behind schedule. But I have personally seen
Nothing wrong with being nothing.
The crowd is crazy at these things now. It's such a weird, cool thing. It's like an underground, but not kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like being a part of a weird, huge, yet somehow still underground, cinematic universe that very few people know about. Or maybe everybody knows about. I don't know. It's got this whole cult vibe to it that's really cool. Cult in the good way. Lost Project says maybe someone else has a better stream. I don't think anyone else is streaming it. I looked at the National Press Club's website and they're not streaming it. They're not officially sponsoring it. It's just being held there. And the only source that is available is News Nation. So what we see is what we get, unfortunately. Unless I'm wrong and somebody else knows, if you've got a link, send it to me. But I looked at this. Someone referred to me as the Elon guy on Danny Goler's live the other night. LOL. I guess I'm the Elon guy. Whatever that means. The family of the guy said it was okay to dig the body up. Oh, this is Justin saying about the body that was buried. They were in the process of contacting the family. The other body buried on top of his. That was all that was said regarding. Yeah. That's as much as I know. I'm going to talk. Yeah, I'm hoping that he's going to talk about that, and I'm hoping that he'll address this video clip that's going around. I don't think he's addressed it anywhere, as far as I know, yet. But if it does come up, that would be very interesting. I know that a couple people that I talk to pretty regularly are there today, so I'm hoping to get the inside scoop from them as well. Kill the Stigma podcast. I got a man crush with James Fox. Not gonna lie. Him and Tom DeLonge. What happened to Tom? Tom DeLonge was everywhere for a while, and he was talking about this all the time. And then he kind of, I guess he went on tour, didn't he? Mr. Justin, we need a night shift away team for this stuff in the future. Well, the night shift away team is going to be in Austin, and it's too close to that trip. So the night shift misses didn't give me a hall pass for 2 trips. I didn't ask, to be honest. We do need, maybe we need another away team that doesn't have the same limitations that I do. Yeah, this is yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the only stream. Let's go back and see what Ross has to say here. Where's my volume?
And take their evidence under oath so that this matter can be properly investigated. I think also, Megan, one of the things that we're most anxious to get out of today is there will be people watching this, people in the US Air Force, people in the US military, the intelligence community, who almost certainly know more about the Virginia case from 1996. If the stories are correct, and we believe they are, there was an Air Force plane that was deployed to Brazil to recover not only the craft, but also the beings which returned to the United States. There must be people with first-hand knowledge of this event in the United States who can corroborate what happened. This could be, and I think James has got a point here, that this could be an absolutely key piece of evidence to push Congress and the US government, and particularly the Trump administration, into making some kind of admission about what the United States actually knows about the UAP mystery. Because at the moment, as we go into this press conference, the official US government position, of course.
That's interesting. It's interesting, the whole like push to get, they keep pushing, or I guess beating this drum about Trump coming forward and saying something publicly. But I think, I don't know how I feel about that. On the one hand, I think, man, he is just crazy enough to do it. At this stage, that guy will do anything. I would be, I do believe he would do almost anything up to and including that. On the other hand, I feel like we would already be there by now. I don't know how much farther things have to go off the rails before he would feel compelled to play that card. I suppose if you were in a position to really make money from it, that would be the key, right? So then the question would become like, when would you, what signs would you look for to see that they were doing that? And that one interesting story about that would be the, or related to that would be the story a few weeks back that popped up only for a moment and then quickly went away. And it was about the fusion researcher, 41 years old, got unalived outside his apartment or his home in his neighborhood. I think it was in Boston. And then that happened, and he was working on some kind of breakthrough technology that was really unique and sort of unorthodox, of course. And then at the same time, or within maybe a day or two of that story, there was another story that broke that Truth Social, Donald Trump's Truth Social, had merged or somehow entered into some kind of legal agreement with was it a Saudi Arabian fusion company? I think it was. I don't know if it was Saudi, but it was a company that was working on a fusion project or a fusion product. I don't know which term would be more accurate. Trump needs a prize before revealing anything. Where is the press conference being held? It's being held at the National Press Club, but
Reliable representatives from elsewhere in the legacy media, CBS, ABC,
they
NBC.
sent Megan out there with probably a Verizon hotspot that she's paying for. Just guessing. It's probably her own. They sent her out there and they're like, okay, cover this. You also have to shoot it and you've got to report on it in real time. So they are working her pretty hard today. I say that as somebody who's covered a lot of events, like just in my early career. This is kind of stuff I used to do a lot of.
This case matters. It really matters because, frankly, if people are going to ignore first-hand evidence, witnesses who say they are prepared to testify, they're prepared to give first-hand evidence, then, frankly, we might as well pack up and go home. We're told, by the way, that this press conference is going to get underway shortly. They're a little bit delayed, but frankly, I think this is going to be the big test today. Will something come up?
We're getting close. Where's Lisa? Yes. Can I hand this off to you?
Okay, so sometime in the next few minutes, we will see the beginning of the Varginha, Brazil press conference presented by James Fox.
I wonder if they have a comedy club there called Varginha's. No? Varginha. No? Too soon. Government Moon at Noon says, government spokesperson, we planned on complete disclosure today, but we had technical difficulties. Please refer to the written statement, which is literally unable to be questioned. Yeah. CCAV88. Look how he's dodging the Epstein files. He will string it out, but I agree. He is self-serving. Why is Ross's video frozen? That's a good question. I think bandwidth. Ross knows something. Look at him. Mr. Just, I am Brazilian and Portuguese, so I can make that joke. Oh, we appear to be back. Hold on, let's see what's
This
up.
being clearly non-human, clearly a humanoid-shaped being, but clearly non-human, and he testifies that this being communicated with him telepathically. What's the news from the floor, Megan?
Oh man, that tone. Says I have very little time. Do you guys remember the John Waygandt? Lance Corporal John Wygant crash retrieval story. There was an interview that was done by Stephen Greer in the early 2000s of a guy named John Wygant. He was a U.S. Marine Lance Corporal in 1996, the same year that the Virginia case took place. He was deployed in Peru, working with the Peruvian military on some kind of drug interdiction program. And Wygant was on duty, I guess, the day that a craft was shot down, and they basically deployed his unit and they sent them out to secure this crash site. So they're getting ready to start here in a second, but this is interesting. So they go out to secure this crash site, and they drive out there in Humvees. They get out to the crash site. They find this ship. It's all blown apart. It's all blown open in the back. There's this glow in the dark sort of ooze coming out of it, Ninja Turtle ooze. And he has this telepathic communication with something on board the craft. As shortly after all this happens, the American military shows up and they arrest everybody. They take over the whole site. They take him to another location, and they recover all the material and evacuate all that stuff. So that's happening the same year that the Virginia case takes place. So when I talked to James a few weeks ago, I asked him if he had seen that clip, and he goes, not only have I seen it, I was the guy shooting it. I was in the room with Dr. Greer. I was running the camera on that interview, which was really interesting. And he said that at the time when he was in the room and listening to it, he was like, you could just tell this guy was freaked out, like super freaked out. And I think he said that it was almost too much to take on board at that time. And it took years before he could really accept it. But yeah, crazy story. Worlds collide.
I can tell you, as someone who's an introvert by nature, it normally takes me a few minutes to warm up into speaking. So bear with me. I think at the moment, if we're ready to go, we're ready. Where's James? We started without him. Oh, no, you're there. Okay. All right. So first of all, welcome. Thank you. We know, first of all, yes, let's do that. Let's wake up. Thank you. Some people came a very long way to be with us today. Some people got on flights early this morning. Some people drove for many hours in a car. So for everyone who didn't get enough sleep last night or is jet lagged, thank you for your sacrifices. We're very, very happy that you're here with us today. So my job right now is just like an airline flight attendant to tell you where the emergency exits are and how this is going to go. So the first thing is that we are going to read some written statements today. And I know cue collective eye roll, but we're just doing that to set the table. All right, so it'll take us about an hour to move through all of them. The good news is we all read pretty well, so it shouldn't be too torturous. And after the hour is over, we might run a little bit longer than that. We're going to take a 15-minute break, let everyone have a bio break or move around, move your body. Then we'll bring you back in for Q&A. The Q&A will go for an hour as long as it needs to. And then we can be here together until 5 o'clock. So we don't have to feel anxious about the amount of time that we have. We can be chill about it. And we want everybody to have a chance to come up ultimately and meet the presenters here. So know that you'll have plenty of time to do that. What else am I going to say? I think I just did it all.
QR codes.
The QR codes. So that was, we weren't quite sure when to do that. Rumor had it QR codes were on the wall, but they're
they're posted on the walls.
all right. And so the QR codes are for the videos. Is that right?
Yes, to download the materials.
All right. So she just said it. So we have QR codes on the wall if you want to download the videos later. All right. We good? Everybody else okay? Yes, we're ready for this? All right. James, you ready?
Ready.
Let's make it happen. Yes? All right. All right. So I'm Karin Austin. I'm the managing director at the John Mack Institute and the Center for the Impossible at Rice University. Together with founder Dr. Jeffrey Kreipel and Amanda Foke, head of special collections at the Woodson Research Center, we are spearheading a large-scale metadata research initiative to better understand the patterns of human experience related to the phenomenon. Today, though, I'm here in service to this with all my heart and love and support. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you. So, with that said, to not bury the lead, this conference addresses the existence of non-human biologics, defined as biological specimens or bodies of a technologically advanced non-human intelligence. The first-hand witnesses here with us today will describe their personal encounters with live, advanced non-human beings that were discovered in the immediate aftermath of a UFO crash outside Virginia, Brazil in 1996. What happened in Virginia is a part of a larger story, one that has accelerated dramatically here in the United States following the 2017 New York Times article that brought renewed attention to military encounters with unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. Since then, Congress has held 4 open hearings on UAP, an unprecedented step, while the Department of Defense has released congressionally mandated reports from its UAP task force. Bipartisan legislation has established new oversight and reporting pathways, with additional measures still in development. Members of Congress are pressing for greater transparency and whistleblower protections, while highly credible intelligence and defense insiders, many testifying under oath, have reported on deeply classified programs tasked with the recovery of crashed UAP and the preservation of biologics held within ultra-secret legacy programs. In light of this momentum, the public's right to know becomes central. Evidence that we are not alone should not be classified. Confirmation of the existence of life beyond Earth, I think we all agree, belongs to every human being. And with that, I'd like to introduce Kirk McConnell, to help us understand what's been happening behind the scenes to bring this ecosystem of secrecy under congressional oversight. We are honored to welcome Kirk McConnell.
Hi, I served for 37 years on the staff of the Senate Armed Services Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, and the House Intelligence Committee, retiring from government service almost 2 years ago. I was among the staff from the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Senate Intelligence Committee who collaboratively investigated the UAP issue on behalf of the senators from both parties on both committees. After the seminal articles from the New York Times in 2017 that Karin mentioned and that I'm sure all of you are aware of. As extraordinary as the claims sound of the witnesses that you will be hearing from today about a crash retrieval and the recovery of non-human beings from Virginia in 1996, behind the scenes, similar reports have reached senators and staff conducting the investigation that I referred to. Many of you in attendance today or tuning in to this event are familiar with the public statements of now Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, who has been very outspoken on this matter. As Vice Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, he clearly conveyed how seriously he takes these allegations. He and other senators held meetings and interviews in so-called sensitive compartmented intelligence facilities, SCIFs, over a period of years with very credible sources reporting both direct and secondhand knowledge of the reality of highly intelligent non-human beings. Government retrievals and reverse engineering of craft not made by human beings, and the recovery of bodies of non-human beings. These reports alleged hidden government activities like those you will hear about today, stretching across many decades. What these folks are going to tell you today in person and remotely are astounding, but they're not the only credible testimony about such events. Thank you.
Kirk is actually going to be back later to provide some closing remarks for us. I should also make a note here, we're potentially expecting Representative Burleson. Is that true?
Yes, he said he's coming.
Okay, so there may be a moment where everything pauses and we hiccup and we bring Burleson on stage. So just bear with us if that happens, and hopefully it will. Anyway, thank you, Kirk. We look forward to hearing your closing remarks. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jacques Vallée remotely. Unable to attend the event in person, he generously agreed to record a statement for us. Jacques is a renowned scientific investigator, a cultural icon in this field, and one of its most influential thinkers.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacques Vallée. I'm speaking at the request of Mr. James Fox, because a few years ago I initiated the system of multiple databases used by a DIA-sponsored program at Bigelow Aerospace as a cleared member of a scientific team charged with a study of UFO, UAP phenomena. The data warehouse system contained data about 260,000 screened reports of anomalous objects in flight and hundreds of reports of creatures, live or dead, associated with crashed or landed vehicles of unknown provenance, including some similar to those in Virginia, thus providing useful multinational and historical context. My current research is taking us to deeper levels with new on-site analytical and physical research on historical cases, such as the 1945 case in San Antonio, New Mexico, the 1964 case in Socorro, New Mexico, also, and the 1965 case in Valençol in France. In those and several others, new physical and environmental data was collected. The observations involve a total of 7 creatures, generally similar in size and general body shape to those described by the witnesses in Virginia, Brazil, and by Mr. Fox, providing both context and statistical support for current and future findings. In particular, all the creatures just mentioned breathed air normally. Beyond this, I currently serve in a private capacity on the Scientific Advisory Board of the French Government National Center for Space Studies, CNES. That unit has actively researched the UFO problem since 1975, including national cases of close encounters with the presence of occupants, a number of which I have also studied on site. It should be clear, however, that I do not represent any of these government organizations in this or any other context. The Virginia incident of 1996 in Brazil, researched and documented by James Fox, fits within cases already known in scientific and medical records, many of which have remained classified. Relaxing the classification requirements while preserving security of essential facilities such as the nuclear labs would make it possible to inform and enlist the scientific community at a higher level. Action by the executive branch to allow more open exchange would be world-changing. As the Virginia case proves, allowing more open contact at an international level would yield better understanding of the global issues. the current segmentation of the data hinders any serious research into what appears to be an extraterrestrial phenomenon empowered by advanced artificial intelligence. Open archives do exist to some extent, describing the physical and biological environment of the crafts and their occupants. Socorro and Valensol in particular, two unclassified cases officially deemed unidentified by multiple government agencies, have yielded evidence of traces, recovered materials, and environmental effects. But we know that much more is available. The Virginia case presents exceptional new knowledge beyond what was already known. It improves our information in two fundamental ways. First, in the ability to reconstruct what happened to the craft and its occupants from beginning to end. And second, in the professional description of the anatomical and behavioral features of the live creature recovered by authorities within a short time of the crash and to the point of its death. By this achievement, James' long and perilous project has opened up an entirely new field of research.
Thank you, Jacques. His perspective, of course, reminds us of the long arc of inquiry that has led us to this very moment. It's now my honor to introduce James Fox, the documentary filmmaker who spearheaded today's event. His work has consistently centered the human experience within some of the world's most provocative UAP cases. James, at 28 years old, completed and sold his first documentary on the UFO subject to Discovery Communications. Over the years, through films like Out of the Blue, I Know What I Saw, The Phenomenon, The Program, and Moment of Contact, he has consistently centered the human experience with some of the world's most provocative cases. James' most recent work, Moment of Contact, New Revelations, returns to the 1996 Virginia, Brazil event, often described as one of the most compelling crash retrieval cases involving multiple live non-human beings of advanced intelligence. For over 2 decades, he and his team have chased down the facts and witnesses to the incident. He has been deeply committed to documenting their accounts with respect and to preserve their voices for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, James Fox.
Thank you, Karin. And welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And there was a colossal undertaking to get these gentlemen from Brazil here. If I say I had to walk on water and move mountains, that would be a huge understatement. So thank you, everyone, for being here and for all your efforts. Just informed that Congressman Burleson has just arrived. I don't know how long he's going to stay with us, but I'm hoping there he is. Welcome, Congressman. Thank you so much. Yeah. We also have a sitting member of the Senate, Senator Gerald from Brazil, who's standing here. Can you stand up, please? Yep, he's here. Yeah. So we will be introducing Congressman Burleson. Would you like to give a quick statement now, or would you like to wait till a little bit later? Come on up, please. I'll finish mine afterwards. Excellent. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Extraordinary.
So my work is taking me around the world investigating some extraordinary allegations of UFO encounters, now referred to as UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena. But what brings us here together today is what I consider, and many others, the most compelling case in modern history. In January 1996, in Varginha, Brazil, numerous witnesses reported a cigar-shaped object in distress, which ultimately crashed in a field, Maiolini Farm, just outside the city of Varginha, Brazil. Several days later, on January 20th, 3 girls outside the city, ages 14, 16, and 21, came within a few steps of an otherworldly creature cowering in broad daylight against a wall in a vacant lot. Over time, it was revealed that the Brazilian Fire Department and military police captured 2 non-human beings on that same day. According to multiple Brazilian government officials, the crash debris and non-human beings, likely one still living, were flown out of Brazil within days by U.S. Air Force and presumably remain in the possession of a secret U.S. government classified research program. More and more witnesses are coming forward because courage is infectious and there's strength in numbers. This investigation is far from over. We are encouraging a coalition between officials from the U.S. and Brazil to acquire additional records, including potential video and photographic evidence of this case. I believe in this case because this could settle the debate once and for all that we're not alone. I'm very grateful to our Brazilian witnesses taking the time to come all this way to be here with us today. As I said earlier, we had to move mountains and walk on water. The Brazilian statements will be translated by Aline Class, who's right here across, and who co-produced a new cut of Moment of Contact and was instrumental in making this conference happen. Thank you, Aline. I'm going to mention Carlos de Souza, who's here as well, was initial crash witness. We took years to track him down. Yeah. He gave one brief statement in 1996 to a researcher named Claudio Covo, and then he vanished for the better part of 26 years. And I remember we were going to include a segment in the Phenomenon, a film I did. And at the end of the day, we were like, we got to find more witnesses. We scrapped the whole idea and ended up making a movie. But we found him, and a year or two later, we got him to come forward and share his story. It's one of the earliest civilian witnesses to the events surrounding the Varginha crash. He's a former businessman, a longtime geography teacher, and an experienced ultralight pilot. Carlos made one public statement, as I said earlier, and then he vanished. So we're very grateful to have Carlos here with us today. Carlos, please.
Check, 1, 2, check.
Bom dia, senhoras e senhores. É grande prazer estar falando hoje com vocês.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to speak with you today.
Me perdoem pouco o nervosismo que filme passa na minha cabeça nesse instante da minha vida inteira.
Forgive me, I'm a bit nervous. This movie of the scene just plays in my head all the time.
Eu testemunhei a queda de uma nave não terrestre no ano de 1996, no dia 13 de janeiro.
I witnessed the crash of a non-terrestrial craft on January 13th, 1996.
Eu viajava de São Paulo para a cidade de Três Corações. E durante esse percurso, eu parei rapidamente no acostamento e, nesse momento, pela rodovia Fernão Dias, no caso, e porque eu iria a encontro de pilotos de ultraleve, que eu era recém-formado. Como piloto, então, eu iria encontrar os amigos.
I was en route from São Paulo to the city of Três Corações via Fernão Dias Highway in Minas Gerais for an ultralight pilots gathering.
Ao fazer uma breve parada, eu avistei um objeto que, para mim, naquele momento, está em formato de charuto, não era nada terrestre, era simplesmente um dirigível, pois na época...
Lê o texto, Carlos.
Oh, ok, sorry. Em formato de charuto, tá? E eu observei que ele estava em apuros.
When I made a brief stop near Varginha, I looked skyward. I spotted a cigar-shaped object which seemed distressed. Initially, I assumed it was a blimp, common at the time over soccer fields for broadcasts. It released white smoke while losing altitude.
Inicialmente, como eu já havia falado, eu pensei que fosse um dirigível. Tá? Na época era muito comum sobre os campos de futebol no Brasil, para fazer as transmissões das partidas. Só que ele saía dele uma fumaça muito branca. E ao ele fazer uma pequena curva, eu observei que na sua lateral ele tinha um rasgo da metade para trás. E ele estava rapidamente perdendo altitude.
It released white smoke while losing altitude. It made a slight turn that revealed a lateral tear from the middle to the back. It was clearly having problems.
Logo pensei, como piloto, que os ocupantes estariam em graves problemas, porque só quem é piloto sabe o desespero que dá você estar numa nave com problemas ou numa aeronave com problemas. Entrei no meu veículo rapidamente e comecei a acompanhá-lo através do para-brisa até o seu local da sua queda. Na esperança, na verdade, de ajudar quem estava lá dentro.
Only a pilot would know the difficulty of seeing a craft in trouble. So he quickly realized that the occupants could be in deep trouble. I got in my car and followed its trajectory towards the crash site, hoping to be able to help.
Ao chegar no local da queda, eu estranhei de início, porque o esperado era um cheiro de combustível, ou querosene, mas havia um cheiro de amônia e ovo podre, muito diferente, que ardia muito meus olhos, queimava os meus olhos. Então eu subi a camisa para poder respirar, que eu não conseguia. Metade da nave desse objeto, tá, que no caso para mim ainda era um dirigível, estava encostado numa árvore, e a outra metade traseira eram vários destroços.
When I got there, I smelled a foul odor, like ammonia with rotten eggs, burning my eyes. Half the craft remained intact by a tree, and the debris of the back part was scattered everywhere.
Nesse momento, rapidamente, chegou vários veículos militares.
Multiple army vehicles arrived promptly.
Nesse momento, eu estava no meio dos destroços, onde houve que negócio. E esses fragmentos, tá, eu levei baixei e peguei na minha mão. E eu observei que ele era muito leve, não tinha peso nenhum. Parecia um papel alumínio, aquelas folhas de papel alumínio bem fininhas. E amassei ele. Ao soltá-lo, o que eu tomei um susto gigantesco, ele voltou ao formato normal. Meu Deus, o que é isso?
At that point, I was in the middle of the wreckage, and I picked up a lightweight fragment resembling aluminum foil. I crumpled it in my hand, but when I let go, it instantly resumed its shape.
Nesse exato momento, um soldado do exército, da ESA, se mais preciso, no Brasil, veio em minha direção com um rifle, tá? E começou a gritar, vai embora, vai embora. E no que ele deu impacto, tirou de mim esse fragmento, ok? E eu respondi para ele, não, eu não vou. Tem gente caída lá, machucada, que para mim até aquele momento não fazia sentido cenário. Para mim era, ele vai embora, vai embora. Eu falei, não, não vou. Ele deu um passo para trás, levantou a arma, engatilhou, apontou para minha cabeça. Eu não estou pedindo, eu estou mandando, eu vou abrir a tua cabeça no meio se você não for embora.
A soldier approached fast and hit me in the chest with his rifle, so I was forced to drop the metal I was holding. He shouted, "Leave now." I replied, "No, people in there need help." He aimed his gun at my head and said, "I am not requesting, it is an order. Leave now or I'll split your skull."
Virei-me imediatamente, tremendo, morrendo de medo, sem entender nada. E estava muito assustado mesmo com tudo aquilo.
I turned and departed immediately. I was very scared and confused.
Saí do local imediatamente, que não tinha o que fazer, estava com medo, né, não entendia nada, e caminhei até um posto de gasolina, porque eu falei, vou tomar um café e me acalmar. Para todo aquele negócio era demais para minha cabeça. Sorry. Desculpem-me. E para me recompor, fui ao posto tomar um café para me recompor. Em poucos minutos, uns 4 minutos, 5 minutos no máximo, chegou um carro escuro, um Opala, um carro da época, azul escuro, quase preto, com 2 homens bem vestidos, elegantes, ternos pretos, camisa branca, óculos escuros, desceram e vieram ao meu encontro. Ok.
I left the area and stopped at the first gas station to compose myself. A few minutes later, a very dark blue, near black vehicle pulled up. 2 suited men got out and approached me.
Me chamando pelo nome.
Ok. Deles veio em minha direção, tá, e me chamou pelo meu nome. Falou o nome da minha esposa, o nome do negócio, para mim, apontando o dedo para mim, e perguntou. Eu perguntei para ele, falando se eu era o Carlos Souza, se eu era isso, e apontando ele para mim. Eu perguntei para ele, quem é você? Não te conheço. Ele respondeu frio e simplesmente, você não viu nada, você não sabe de nada, ou você terá sérios problemas o resto da sua vida.
One of these
Entendeu?
men approached him and called him by name, stating his address, naming wife and business, and he asked, "Who are you?" And this man threatened, "You saw nothing, you know nothing, or you will have problems for the rest of your life."
Partiram rapidamente. Nesse momento, eu peguei um papel aqui, guardanapo, limpar a boca, com uma caneta, para anotar a placa do veículo. Porque, para mim, quem eram aquelas pessoas para falarem aquilo? Só que, ao chegar na porta do estabelecimento que eu estava tomando café, quem falou que o carro tinha placa? Não havia placa no veículo. Eles simplesmente partiram.
They departed swiftly. I grabbed a napkin to write down the license plate, but there wasn't one.
Imploro a todos os presentes aqui, após 30 anos, ridicularizado, julgado pela sociedade, não nos abandone novamente. Permitam que a verdade venha à tona. Tenham coragem de falar a verdade para nós. Eu não sou louco. Ninguém é louco aqui. Tenho família com qualquer um. Por favor, falem a verdade àquele que sabe, às autoridades. Só peço isso. Obrigado.
I implore the authorities and people present, after 30 years of ridicule and societal judgment, do not abandon us again. Allow the truth to emerge. Summon the courage to disclose it. Thank you very much.
Obrigado.
That's a very, very powerful speech. It's quite profound to hear someone speaking so directly about a first-hand evidence like that.
I want to say that I tracked him down. Specifically, I want to say that we tracked him down, specifically my team, Marco Leal in Brazil, and begged and pleaded with him to come forward after silence of 26 years. He's never asked for a dime. He's not trying to sell anything. Like, wow. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Carlos. We have colossal effort to get 6 additional firsthand witnesses here. In fact, we hired an immigration lawyer. We reached out to Congressman Burlington's office. He was very happy to help implement getting their visas approved. He was working diligently, his office. He put it on one of his best people. And unfortunately, 6 visas were denied. So we rushed back just a couple of weeks ago, Alini and myself, covert mission, went back to Brazil with the help of the local government and got access to an official building with a podium and flags. And we recorded statements from all those that had their visas denied. So that's the story behind why we're presenting it. They wanted to be here in person. They tried everything to be here in person.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, well, it's not cool. It's awful. It's shitty how fucked up the immigration sort of visa situation is. But yeah, when I talked to him, he was in Virginia again, and that's why.
Ask you to please spread them far and wide. They're all yours. They're everybody's. So we're gonna, without further ado, we're gonna show you.
Ah, here we go.
Eu juro que o que eu vou dizer é simplesmente a verdade e nada mais do que a verdade. Meu nome é Fábio Furtado e em janeiro de 1996, eu e meu amigo que estávamos na fazenda que trabalhávamos em Três Corações, vimos um objeto voador não identificado. Um objeto que não era normal para a época, uma coisa que a gente nunca tinha visto. Ele fez movimentos sem nenhum tipo de curva, subiu e desceu, fez um Z no ar e desceu atrás do morro, na frente da nossa fazenda que nós morávamos e trabalhávamos em 96. O objeto ele era cilíndrico, era do tamanho mais ou menos do micro-ônibus, e o movimento que ele fez no ar, eu nunca vi se repetir isso, nem nos dias atuais, nas aeronaves mais tecnológicas que nós temos hoje. Aquele objeto fez um pouso, e no dia seguinte, eu fui lá para conferir, e vi um amarelado no chão. Ali eu tive aquela certeza, percepção, que aquele objeto não era desse mundo.
Eu juro que eu vou dizer aqui agora é a verdade, somente a verdade. Meu nome é Liliane Silva, tenho 46 anos, sou professora na educação infantil. No sábado 20 de janeiro de 1996, a mais ou menos às 3h20, eu, Valquíria e a Kátia, ao cortar caminho, vindo do trabalho, observei no muro uma pichação, onde embaixo dessa pichação de uma trave de futebol, eu avistei uma criatura, estatura baixa, com os olhos vermelhos, a pele marrom, como se tivesse passado um óleo, umas veias que saíam do pescoço até o braço, né? E quando que eu avistei ali, eu tive uma sensação, assim, terrível, como se o mundo tivesse parado. Foram minutos, mais minutos, assim, que passou um filme na minha vida. Na hora que eu gritei para avisar as meninas, olha ali, a criatura olhou para mim, eu olhei nos olhos dela, me passou uma sensação que ela estivesse sofrendo, que ela estivesse pedindo ajuda, se escondendo de alguém ali. E assim, aqueles minutinhos que eu fixei nos olhos dela, eu entrei em pânico, não sabia o que eu fazia, só falei assim, gente, vamos correr, e comecei a correr na frente delas, né, em sentido da minha casa. As meninas olharam para ela e teve a mesma impressão, cada um viu alguma coisa, mas assim, apavorada, saímos correndo no sentido da minha casa.
Juro dizer a verdade, nada além da verdade. Sou Kátia Xavier, uma das 3 testemunhas do caso Varginha. Eu estive a 2 metros de uma criatura. Foi dia 20 de janeiro de 1996. Eu, Liliane e Valquíria estávamos juntos, passando nesse terreno, e tivemos cara a cara praticamente com uma coisa muito estranha, um extraterrestre. E assim, ele me passou muito medo. Ele era marrom, dos olhos vermelhos, com a pele oleosa, uma cabeça grande, com 3 dedos na mão, um pé grande. E aquilo mudou muito a minha vida, transformou a minha vida. E me passava que estava sofrendo naquele lugar, que era que ele pedia ajuda para mim. Eu não conseguia me mexer, olhando para ele e tentando pegar alguma coisa a mais. Então, eu já ia para a direção dele, tipo assim, eu vou ajudar ele, né? Não pensei assim em consequência. Eu vou ajudar essa criatura, essa pessoa. Quando eu fui para tomar essa atitude, a Liliane voltou, pegou no meu braço e me puxou. Foi aonde eu me desliguei completamente. Mas aí já não era mais aquela Kátia. Era totalmente diferente. Por quê? Porque, assim, me transformou. Me deixou, assim, com sequelas de que, poxa, por que não fiz algo? Poxa, por que pegaram ele? Por eu ter falado, pegaram ele, fizeram o que fizeram com ele. Então, isso ficou marcado em mim. Porque eu sinto essa criatura junto comigo a todo momento, aonde eu vou. Então, sempre vou dizer a minha verdade. Em janeiro faz 30 anos a história. E eu nunca mudei nenhuma sílaba e nunca vou mudar. Porque essa é a minha verdade.
Eu juro que o que eu vou contar agora é verdade, nada mais que a verdade. Eu me chamo Valquíria, sou uma das testemunhas do dia 20 de janeiro de 1996, onde estava eu, a minha irmã Liliane e a nossa amiga Kátia, quando estávamos indo embora do trabalho e avistamos uma criatura. Uma criatura diferente, que nós não sabemos o que era, mas era assustadora. Quando eu olhei para os olhos dela, eu senti que ela estava com muito medo. Da mesma forma que a gente ficou assustada, ela também ficou apavorada. Foi o que ela passou no olhar para a gente. E marrom, de olhos vermelhos, tinha brilho no corpo, como se tivesse passado óleo. E aquele dia marcou a nossa vida para sempre.
Eu juro falar a verdade, nada mais do que a verdade. Meu nome é Luísa Helena da Silva, sou mãe das 2 meninas que viu o ser. Depois de meia hora que eu fui até no local, a Kátia chorando muito, eu cheguei até lá, vi a pegada. Tinha grama e a pegada dos dedos dele. Assim, só 3 dedos, muito comprido, assim. E só a única coisa que eu consegui já tinha sumido dali. É o cheiro daquele lugar que ficou muito e muito tempo, uns 20, 25 dias no máximo, se eu não me esqueço, no meu nariz. Então, depois do acontecido, que as meninas viram esse ser lá, eu recebi na minha casa 4 homens que eu nunca tinha visto na minha vida. Era 4 homens vestidos de preto, e eles foi só entrando e foi fazendo uma proposta para mim. Se eu aceitasse aquele dinheiro, abriu a mala na minha frente, disse que a gente ia ficar milionário para o resto da vida. É um dinheiro esquisito, eu nunca tinha visto na minha vida. Era uma maleta assim, nessa altura, Inês abri, que abriu, os outros só olhavam. Que eu tenho a impressão que eles não falavam a nossa língua. Só um que falava. E falou que era muito dinheiro, que a gente ia ficar rica, que eu tinha que ir embora daqui. Mas eles queriam que eu ia se eu aceitasse, que era para mim ir numa emissora, numa TV, reunir as meninas, e mentiram. Que, por exemplo, um exemplo que ele deu, que as meninas viam um bezerro, um cachorro doente, um ser humano doente. Eu fiquei muito assustada com isso, achei que isso não era digno. E aí pedi para eles ir embora dali. Fiquei com muito medo deles, sim. Então, eu acho que eu não poderia mentir uma coisa desse jeito se eu não cheguei a ver. Agora, mentir que as meninas não viram nada, isso aí também já é demais. É só isso que eu tenho que falar.
Wow, that is so ballsy to tell those guys, no, I'm not going to take the money and get the fuck out. Holy moly.
De 1996, no dia 20, eu estava trabalhando e logo que saí, fiquei sabendo do avistamento na cidade. Eu fui averiguar esse avistamento, fui impedido pelos soldados da ESA, né, que não deixaram que eu subisse até o local, porque por ser da cidade, eu sei onde as coisas acontecem. Eu queria ver. Parei o carro, desci, queria ir a pé, disseram que eu não poderia passar. Eu questionei o porquê, assunto de segurança nacional. Oh, mas e a minha liberdade de ir e vir? Vocês têm que ficar. Pois bem, isso aconteceu. Depois, no domingo, tiveram pessoas que fizeram avistamento. Eu estive no hospital regional, porque fiquei sabendo que lá havia uma movimentação. Vi os médicos em polvorosa, mas não soube o quê. E o mais importante que eu esqueci de dizer, naquele momento em que eu estava próximo ao local dos fatos, eu ouvia barulho de gente na mata, como se estivesse correndo, e duas frases me marcaram. Cerca, cerca. O outro respondia, é liso, é liso. Essas coisas ficaram na minha mente por um bom tempo. Mandei 2 jornalistas para uma entrevista coletiva que teria na ESA para eles tentarem colocar panos quentes, dizer que, não, era apenas um exercício militar, era caminhão que estava arrumando, e eu instruí os meus repórteres, pergunta exatamente sobre isso, sobre o que aconteceu, mas seja incisivo. A resposta que eles tiveram foi, se vocês insistirem nesse assunto, vocês vão ser presos. Então, quer dizer, para mim, havia um processo de acobertamento e que, aliás, perdura até hoje, por enquanto. Que muita gente, como eu, tem relatos iguais a esse, mas que ainda hoje tem medo de dar a cara a tapa e de falar o que aconteceu.
Eu juro que eu vou dizer a verdade, a pura verdade. Sou militar do Exército da época de 1996, onde ocorreu um fato ET de Varginha. Participei no transporte e também na visualização do ser extraterrestre, onde eu fiz o transporte, mas primeiramente, antes de transportar esse ser, eu entrei na porta, na segunda porta do hospital, onde avistei um ser, e posteriormente veio relatos de que era simplesmente um extraterrestre. Com isso, eu fiz o transporte dele de Varginha para Três Corações, de Três Corações para Campinas, onde deixei a viatura e outros militares assumiram. E, posteriormente, retornando para Três Corações, houve o relato que os americanos teriam já a posse de ser, transportando ele para um local ignorado, um local que eu não sei.
Wow, this is compelling stuff.
Ninguém fala a verdade, somente a verdade. Meu nome é Marta, sou irmã do militar Marco Elixerez, que em 96 veio a óbito e participou da captura do ET. Meu irmão tinha 23 anos na época, era militar da P2. Falo com convicção que muitas das pessoas levam o caso para ser fantástico, e não é. É um caso muito sério. Realmente, meu irmão participou da captura do ET e veio a óbito. A causa indefinida, até hoje indefinida. Mas a gente vai esclarecer isso, custe o que custar. Passe o tempo que passar, nada fica encoberto. Mas eu gostaria que as pessoas que soubessem um pouco mais, que viessem e se pronunciassem, mas desde que dizendo a verdade. Eu perdi uma parte na qual não vou ser restaurada nunca mais. Eu queria que o governo, as autoridades falassem o que realmente aconteceu no dia, o porquê que se escondem, né? Eu sei que pode existir pessoas que não vão entender, mas eu acredito que muitas das pessoas, a maioria, irá entender esse caso sim. Estou aqui esperando uma resposta da sociedade, da população, quem sabe de algum militar que queira falar. Hoje eu aguardo.
e vamos torcer para que as pessoas que venham até nós venham com contundência, venham com firmeza, com declaração explícita, simplesmente, se por mais dura que seja a verdade, que ela seja dita.
Why hide it? Why hide it indeed? That's very compelling evidence. James has done some fantastic work.
Oh man. That is really interesting. My thing is though that they've been people have been coming forward and testifying and putting their experiences on record for decades now, and it's like, to what end? What's the next? There's no next step.
Cherez, who, with the help of fellow officer Eric Lopez, captured one of the live beings with his bare hands. Within weeks, he developed a severe bacterial infection that would ultimately prove fatal. Dr. Armando, the forensic specialist who conducted Cherez's autopsy, is a highly respected physician with a law degree who works primarily in forensic medicine. Over more than 3 decades with the Minas Gerais Civil Police, he served as a forensic pathologist, criminal medical examiner, and critical medical examiner. I'm seeing in some of my notes here that I finished at 3 a.m. The obvious results that I was finishing at 3 a.m. He also served as the president of the Medical Association and Municipal Secretary of Health in Virginia. He is here with us today to discuss his knowledge of the case. Dr. Armando.
Bom dia. Declaro que estou dizendo a verdade e que não tenho nenhum conflito de interesses pessoais ou de outra natureza.
Good day. I hereby state that I am telling the truth and that I have no conflict of interest, personal or otherwise.
Fui designado para realizar autópsia no corpo do soldado de 23 anos, Marco Eli Cherez, cuja morte inesperada levou o comandante da Polícia Militar de Minas Gerais a solicitar uma investigação por suspeita de erro profissional.
I was assigned to perform the autopsy on the body of the 23-year-old soldier, Marco Eli Cherez, whose unexpected death led the commander of the military police of the state of Minas Gerais to request an investigation on suspicion of professional error.
Causou estranheza que um jovem soldado saudável ter morrido em decorrência de um abscesso na região axilar esquerda.
It was considered unusual that a young, healthy soldier would die as a result of what appeared to be a simple abscess in the underarm area.
Realizei a autópsia e encaminhei fragmentos de órgãos e amostras de sangue ao meu colega, o renomado médico patologista, Dr. João Batista Macuco Janini, para avaliações laboratoriais e maiores esclarecimentos.
I sent organ fragments and blood samples to my colleague, the renowned pathologist, Dr. João Batista Janini, for laboratory assessment and further clarification.
Foi observada uma cicatriz recente na região axilar esquerda, decorrente de uma drenagem cirúrgica de uma lesão infecciosa.
A recent scar was observed in the left underarm region as a result from a surgical drainage of an infectious lesion.
O paciente faleceu poucos dias depois, apesar de ter sido avaliado e tratado por outros médicos, com doses elevadas de anti-inflamatórios e de antibióticos.
The patient died a few days later, despite having been evaluated and treated by other physicians with high doses of anti-inflammatory medications and antibiotics.
Como tratava-se de uma bactéria altamente virulenta e multiresistente, a infecção evoluiu rapidamente, espalhando-se pelo corpo, resultando em choque séptico e na morte do jovem soldado.
As the infection was caused by a highly virulent and multi-drug resistant bacterium, it progressed rapidly, spreading throughout the body and resulting in septic shock, eventually leading to the death of the young soldier.
Infelizmente, o médico patologista Dr. Janini não pôde participar desse nosso evento pela idade avançada, mas fez questão de elaborar uma declaração por escrito, que foi traduzida para o inglês para ser apresentada a todos vocês, hoje, nesta data tão importante, nesta conferência.
Unfortunately, the pathologist, Dr. Giannini, was unable to attend our event due to his advanced age, but he prepared a written statement that was carefully translated to present to you today.
Quem vai fazer a leitura?
We'll invite Mateus over to the stage to read the statement for you guys.
Most honorable ladies and gentlemen, distinguished authorities, scientists, and representatives of the institutions gathered here. My name is João Giannini. I am a professor and doctor with specialization in anatomic pathology. I worked professionally for 60 years, during which I performed more than 50,000 autopsies, conducted over 1 million microscopic analyses, and served as a preceptor to more than 200 postgraduate students. I carried out academic activities at 3 higher education institutions: Fluminense Federal University, the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, and the University of Brasilia, where I held the position of associate professor. In the southern region of Minas Gerais, I founded the Institute for Prevention and Diagnosis, IPD, where I developed and implemented programs focused on cancer prevention. The access granted to me was limited exclusively to tissue fragments collected during the autopsy of the body of soldier Marco Eli Sherezi. Subsequently, I received circumstantial reports presented by gentlemen ufologists who requested a review of the previously mentioned material. Based on these reports, I prepared my conclusions focusing exclusively on the identification and analysis of the bacterium responsible for the infection that affected the soldier. This bacterium proved to be a microbial agent of extremely high aggressiveness and lethality. Given its characteristics, I understand that it goes beyond the limits of a conventional infection, possibly presenting itself as a highly specialized mechanism of aggression and defense, which raises the hypothesis of its alien origin. We are currently awaiting the necessary legal procedures for the exhumation of the body, with the expectation that advanced studies in molecular biology may provide new evidence regarding its mechanisms of aggressiveness, corroborating the hypothesis that it is an organism of extraterrestrial origin. If confirmed, such a finding would represent unequivocal proof of the existence of extraterrestrial life, implying a profound global reformulation of our philosophical understanding of existence. January the 8th, 2026, Virginia, Dr. J. Giannini.
Unequivocal proof of the existence of ET life. Doesn't get better than that.
Thank you, Dr. Armando. We have the distinct honor of, as I've announced earlier, Senator Juan, who's here, and we thought we would offer him a quick opportunity to say something if you'd like, take a few-minute break, and then we're going to present Dr. Italo, who allegedly had face-to-face contact with the creature, some level of communication for 3 to 4 minutes after we take a short little break. So, Senator,
That's
if
what
you'd
I
like
want
to
to
come
see.
up and say a little brief word.
For people in the chat, I'm running the video that is probably fake of what looks like the Varginha being. And the reason I'm running it is because we are running a poll on that video to see what you guys think. And so far, the best pictures we have look basically like that. So that's more or less what we think it looks like. I'm not saying that this is a real video and James Fox has not endorsed it. That's not what I'm saying.
Uma honra ter recebido o convite seu, James Fox, para estarmos aqui hoje.
It's a great honor to have received the invitation from James Fox to be here today.
Eu não vim em nome do Senado do Brasil.
I did not come representing the Brazilian Senate.
Desde pequeno, eu tenho curiosidade nesse assunto.
Since I was little, I've been curious about this subject.
Então eu fiz.
Real quick, the biological warfare thing is just, I'm working on this project, this Dan Burrish project, and in one of many interviews that he gives, he says that when they first brought him into the program to start researching, to start vetting him to see if they could let him know all of the information. You know, they start small and they work you up, and they don't tell you you're working on an alien virus yet. They tell you, you know, when you first start, they tell you you're going to work on this exotic material, and then they stair step you into what it is that you're going to be doing. And he said that the guys that he was with when he was going through that process, they suspected early on that they were working on biological warfare in some capacity, and Burrish actually refused and tried to quit, and then they convinced him through other means to stick around. So that's why the biological warfare thing is on my mind.
Mensalmente na revista mais importante do Brasil.
She wrote monthly to the most important magazine in Brazil.
E quebrou paradigma escrevendo artigo sobre avistamento em Quixadá, que fica no meu estado.
And she broke the paradigm by writing about this UFO case in Quixadá,
Com 20 testemunhas confirmando.
with 20 witnesses confirming it.
Nós tivemos outro caso no Brasil que é muito emblemático também,
There is another puzzling case in Brazil also
que é a Operação Prato,
that's called Operação Prato, Operation Plate,
que a Força Aérea Brasileira
that the Brazilian Air Force
identificou em vários estados do Brasil,
identified in several states over Brazil
na mesma noite,
on the same evening,
vários objetos voadores não identificados.
many UFO or UAPs.
Mas o caso mais simbólico e que mais repercute no mundo
But the most symbolic case and the one of most repercussion in the world
é o caso de Varginha.
is the Varginha case.
Tem grande humanista brasileiro de Minas Gerais também,
There is a great Brazilian humanist also from the state of Minas Gerais,
pacifista considerado pelo povo brasileiro como o mineiro do século.
Just to jump in here really quickly, what's interesting about the bacteria thing is that if they were studying this bacteria, I'm assuming they have samples of it. Like James Fox hasn't really said, and I even asked him, I said, do you know if the doctors who worked on this soldier kept any samples of the bacteria on ice, or if it's in a lab somewhere, or is there any, what paperwork or any information on this stuff available? Because there would, maybe that made it through. Maybe that survived the sweep when they came through and took everything to the States. I would be really interested to know.
They made a documentary about him.
E ele diz que, com 50 anos após o homem chegar na Lua,
And he said that 50 years after man has reached the moon,
se nós não tivéssemos a Terceira Guerra Mundial,
Yeah, this one is getting a little boring, but they're going to take a break in a moment. And when they come back, the guy that we're going to hear from is supposedly a person who was in the room and had a face-to-face encounter with this being and communicated with it telepathically. So I think they're going to finish with this gentleman here and then take a break. Then we'll hear some mind melters. Wow, this is great. Wow, I didn't even expect to do this thing today, this live stream, and we're already over 500 people in here. This is great. Thanks for being here, gang. If you don't mind, hit that like button since you're here.
the celebration event.
o detetive aposentado da Polícia Federal, da Polícia Inglesa, Gary Heseltine,
retired detective of the English police,
e Robert Lambert Salas, comandante da reserva do Exército Americano e pesquisador de ufologia.
commander of the U.S. Army and UFO researcher.
Foi um evento com uma presença de pesquisadores, ufólogos
It was a great event with researchers
do Brasil.
in Brazil.
E para encerrar,
And to finish,
esses brasileiros aqui que estão comigo têm muita coragem.
these Brazilians up here with me are very courageous.
Não é fácil tratar desse assunto no Brasil, que existe o julgamento e é entendido por muitas pessoas como...
Earlier, I was talking about the John Weygant case, Stephen Greer's interview with Lance Corporal John Weygant, who was present in Peru at this crash site. A craft went down, was shot down. And he says he knows, he suspects what it was that was used to shoot this thing down. But the craft crashes. His Marine unit is sent out to secure the crash site, and he gets taken, he gets arrested, basically, when the UFO retrieval people show up. So James Fox not only shot that interview, which is amazing, but I wonder, separate from that, and I asked him this, he didn't really have an answer, if that was connected to, or if he thought there might be a connection to the craft going down in Virginia, because that was damaged as well. So was it shot down? And if so, who shot it down? And with what? Because same year in Peru, another craft gets shot down. It crashes. They recover that one too. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Some of the elements of the Virginia case to the United States.
Que possam compartilhar conosco. Eu estarei à disposição.
That they may share that with us, that he will be available.
E cobrarei transparência também do governo brasileiro.
And he will also require transparency from the Brazilian government.
Para que a verdade triunfe.
So that the truth may triumph.
Muito obrigado a todos.
Thank you very much.
James Fox has done a formidably good job in putting these witnesses together. This is extraordinary evidence. As the pathologist who read the statement conveyed, this is the opportunity for absolutely carte blanche evidence.
All right. This has gone on a little longer than we thought, but that happens. And so I can feel the tension in the room. People need to squiggle and move around for a few minutes. So why don't we actually take the 15-minute break now?
Couple minute break.
10 negotiate. Women need a few minutes. So I just wanted to say, yeah, we have 3 speakers left, right? We have Dr. Italo and Colonel Clausen and what's your name, Kirk? And then I don't know, Representative Burleson, I'm concerned about your timing. Do you need to leave soon? Should we? You're okay. All right, fantastic. All right, 10 minutes.
Couple-minute break,
We'll see you
guys,
here.
and then we'll
See you back. All right, thanks.
All right, they're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break too, and then I'll be back. But let's see, what is it? 12:30 almost. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a few minutes, and then I'll be back. But you guys can hang out in the chat if you like. I'm going to go get some snackage. I'm going to steal some of my kids' crunchy snacks. I'll be right back. I'll be back, but you guys can hang out in the chat if you like. I'm going to go get some snackage. I'm going to steal some of my kids' crunchy snacks. I'll be right back. I'll be back, but you guys can hang out in the chat if you like. I'm going to go get some
even with the inducement of being offered the opportunity to become an instant millionaire. That's very powerful evidence. These people aren't talking for any inducement. James is not giving them any benefit. There's no consideration. They're just telling the truth, aren't they?
Absolutely. And if you have the personality trait of lying and telling a tale, you probably also possess the personality trait of accepting a huge sum of cash. So
Yeah.
you're prone to believe these people. And when these gentlemen are up here, gentlemen ladies are up here giving their testimonies, the room is silent. You can feel everybody is just captivated by what is being said, the evidence that's being presented, and you really have to question, what is humanity? Are we exposing right now what could be greater than humanity, which is a gigantic question.
So, Megan, I'm going to cross now to Andy, our colleague in the newsroom in Chicago. He's got some questions that have been asked of us by our viewers. Andy, you want to fire some of those questions my way?
You got it, buddy. Let me pull this one up on the screen. This is from Jamie Wild, 4757.
Now, are you aware if the Virginia case on the US side was ever investigated by the UAP task force under Jay Stratton's leadership? Thanks, Jamie. Jamie, I don't know. It's as simple as that. We just don't know. I'm remiss, frankly, in not asking Jay Stratton about that. I will. What I can tell you is, as is the case right now, there is a continuing effort to cover up and hide UAP retrievals and reverse engineering. And I just don't think there's any willingness at the moment in the majority of people in either the Congress or the administration, or indeed in the Defense Department, to tell the public the truth about what they really know. I mean, what we've got here today is categorical evidence of some group of people saying they've had first-hand contact with a non-human being, and evidence of them witnessing the crash of a non-human craft, an alien craft. It really is quite extraordinary. If the Congress, if the US administration under President Trump, if they choose to ignore this evidence, they're turning a blind eye to categorical evidence that, frankly, I think would convince a jury in any criminal trial. Maybe, Megan, just for the moment, you wouldn't mind muting your mic just for the moment?
Absolutely right, of course.
Give us another question, Andy. Are there any more?
Yeah, we've got a few, and this next one dovetails off of what you were just saying about whether the U.S. government's going to do anything. This viewer's asking, why would our government, meaning the United States government, say anything or acknowledge any event from decades ago in Brazil? There's no vested interest. Your reaction there?
Well, you say that. There is no vested interest for the US government to reveal that it has possession of non-human technology and alleged biologics, alien beings. And I guess that goes if you accept that it's important for the US government to conceal this. Unfortunately, as we know from the evidence that's been given by David Grush and by other witnesses, Chris Mellon, Lou Elizondo, a lot of what's been going on in this legacy retrieval and reverse engineering program has been allegedly illegal, if not criminal. And the issue is, do we care about whether or not Congress is properly oversighted and informed, and if the correct accountability controls are applied as is required by the United States Constitution? If we don't care about that anymore, if we just live in a national security state where the executive of the Trump administration can basically say, we're not going to answer your questions, we're just going to ignore you, then I guess you could say that. Yes, the government does have a vested interest, clearly, in keeping this quiet, but this is a government that was founded on a constitution that says that government is for the people and by the people. And frankly, it doesn't have the ability to operate without accountability to Congress when public money is being expended. And that's the issue here, is that, yeah, sure, you can make sweeping assertions of national security, you can try and keep things quiet, but courageous people like these witnesses are coming forward and saying, this happened. I was offered inducements, I was threatened, I was offered a bribe. People have been bullied, intimidated, threatened with the loss of their careers. Ultimately, do we care about that? I think we should. And just because government has a vested interest in preserving the national security of what they're asserting here, why do they have any right to keep secret from the human race that they are aware of the existence of a non-human intelligence? I think it's completely untenable. Any more, Andy?
Oh yeah, we've got a ton of comments here. 1 second. This person wants to know a little bit about, we heard from a Brazilian senator, but their question is about, people who maybe don't know a lot about Brazil. Do they have a Congress? And if so, are they currently or historically questioning their own government about this UAP?
They actually do have a Congress, and they've indicated to me and to other people that they are planning to have hearings, that there is a plan to have hearings both on Varginha and on the other operation that was referred to by the Brazilian senator, Operation Prato, Operation Plate. And this is a very, very interesting investigation that was done by the Brazilian military, where they investigated UAPs that had harassed, overflown, and in some cases allegedly injured villagers in remote Brazilian villages. Brazilian members of those military groups came forward subsequently and admitted that they had been part of essentially a cover-up by the government, the Brazilian government, again at the instigation of the United States. Why? Why would the United States want to keep secret from the public, the world, the fact that it's aware of the existence of a non-human technology, a non-human intelligence? That's the issue that's at the heart of this press conference today. James Fox is presenting categorical evidence that I think would sway any jury in a criminal trial far beyond reasonable doubt, which is the burden of proof we use to substantiate a criminal case. These witnesses are putting themselves forward to be cross-examined. They're willing to take questions from the audience. They're very prepared to testify about what they say they saw and what they say was said to them and threatened at them by officials both from the Brazilian and I suspect also from the American government. Next question, Andy.
You got it. This question is about the Varginha crash. With U.S. being involved, as is being alleged here, with the retrieval and cover-up of this craft, do we think the United States was potentially responsible for downing the craft as well?
That's a very good question, and it's totally speculative, but we do know that the witness, the geography professor who spoke at the beginning, who says that he saw the craft clearly damaged and about to crash, he says that he saw what appeared to be damage in the rear of the craft, some kind of damage that had been caused to it. So unless that craft had some accident or crash, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that it was hit with artillery in some way. And we do know that at the time there were American bases in Brazil. But it's just as possible that this was some kind of surface-to-air or air-to-air missile that was fired by the Brazilians. We just don't know. What we do know is that there have been incidences of attempted shoot-downs and shoot-downs more recently in US military ranges in the United States using high pulse microwave weapons that have been used to bring down non-human craft. The press conference is still ongoing. I just want to get back to Megan on the floor very briefly. Megan, you're in the crowd there. What's the feeling from people around you?
I'm going to give you a little look around. I can see Carlos over here to the right. He's decompressing a little bit. So I'm just going to give you guys a little view of what I'm seeing. If you can see him over, can you see him over there in the hat in the corner? I'm going to stand up.
Yep.
He's decompressing. We've got a lot of people socializing. I'm just trying to look over here for Rep. Burleson. I can see him over here.
Clearly, people are moved by this evidence. Do you get the impression that these witnesses' evidences, their testimonies are resounding with the audience?
Oh, absolutely. It's been absolutely packed in here. Almost every single seat has been taken, and people are all talking about it, what they've seen. They're all collaborating right now. I'm hoping that Rep. Burleson can get up and say what he thinks. But you know what I think I'm going to do? Russ, if you guys could give me a minute, I would love to go back with our News Nation photog who's taking the big shot. Let me see if I can get a News Nation microphone. I'd love to run over to Rep. Burleson and see if I can get some questions for her. So I'm going to leave this here.
In the meantime, I'll
try to grab Carlos as well. Okay, you take questions. I'm going to try to grab some people.
Cool. I have questions, Ross, and we can replay any of the witness testimony. We can replay any of the, we have James's opening. We have the senator from Brazil, the pathologist. So anything you want to call for, I've got.
No problem at all. Keep on firing with those viewer comments and questions, Andy. I think people are interested to get some feedback. So let's give them some feedback.
This one is a little long. You may or may not have an answer, but it's asking about your sources specifically on this case. Do you have sources within the program who worked on this craft or biologics, that were recovered? And if so, what other cases have people from within the confirmed program been working on? That seems to be the question here.
I have to be very careful here because I have to protect sources. So I can't say which craft and which biologics my sources have worked on, because that enables identification of them, or at least it reduces it to a very narrow group of people. You are correct. I am talking to people in the program, and this, when we talk about this is a covert program which is allegedly operating illegally, at least according to people in Congress who are aware of this, which is involved in the retrieval and the attempted reverse engineering of non-human craft. It also involves the investigation of alleged biologics, as we call non-human beings, highly intelligent beings that are actually operating these craft. Incredibly, yes, there are sources who are speaking to me and other people who are coming forward privately saying they want to give evidence, but they're terrified at the moment because what they're seeing is a lassitude from Congress. They're not seeing, even though we have good people like Representative Eric Burleson, who's here at the conference today, they're not seeing a momentum from the senior people in Congress who should be taking leadership on this. One of the great disappointments, frankly, at the moment is we have people in the current administration, President Trump's administration, like President Trump himself, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State and the acting National Security Advisor, John Ratcliffe, the CIA Director, Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, Kash Patel, the head of the FBI. All of these people have pledged accountability and transparency and openness when they were not in government. Now that they've come into government, they all seem to have suffered a collective amnesia and forgotten what they've promised the public. President Trump himself offered to be more transparent about the UAP videos that are allegedly being held by the Pentagon and the intelligence community, and we have not seen a whisper from the president on this issue. And frankly, there's going to be no change in that unless and until momentum builds in Congress. But yes, there are sources that are talking about the recovery of individual craft. I'm not going to say which ones and which incidents, but Virginia is probably one of them. Let's say that.
All right, Roscoe. This next question is, well, I'll put it up on the screen. We can say whether we want to say it. What observations have been made from the physical appearance of the NHI that might give an indication as to what its natural environment was like? Maybe wherever it came from. Any ability to speak to that?
Yeah, well, it's fascinating to me. I mean, this is literally a three-dimensional representation of the Virginia being that I was sent by a very nice gentleman in Scotland who does this kind of 3D modeling. And what the witnesses describe is a brown being with slight horn objects above its forehead, oleaginous skin, oily skin, and some people say red eyes. Other people give a different color of red, a slightly softer red. But basically, it's humanoid. What's interesting about this is humanoid, which is interesting. You'd wonder how often in the universe an alien intelligent species evolves to have arms, legs, eyes, binocular vision like humans. What's going on here? Is there some connection between us and them? We don't know a lot, frankly, about the biologics because I suspect there is a facility I'm aware of on the East Coast near Washington, D.C., where a lot of these biologics are taken. And frankly, the United States is sitting on the evidence and denying publicly any knowledge of extraterrestrial engagement with this planet. It's going to be very funny after this press conference to see how the government responds in light of the fact that we do have first-hand evidence from witnesses. We're talking here about witnesses who are saying they have had not only visual contact with a being, but also with their craft, but also telepathically communicating with that being. James, incredibly, I wasn't aware he was going to be bringing this witness forward, but the witness who testified with his face disguised was a Brazilian military soldier who had transported the being to the Campinas air base, where allegedly an American aircraft arrived to take the being and the craft back to America. This is the witness here. I think this is some of the most interesting evidence that somebody from the military, from the Brazilian military, has been prepared to testify that they witnessed the being and they were participating in the transportation of that being from Varginha to the Campinas Air Base, where other witnesses have said an American cargo aircraft arrived without authorization and took the object, the craft, and the being out of the country. Now, there must be, this is the intriguing thing here, and this is one of the reasons why James is so keen to have this press conference, there must be first-hand American military witnesses who were involved in this retrieval. Pilots, aircrew, ground staff, people must have seen things. And if you do know something, please come forward. You can contact me through Reality Check, or you can contact the Senate Intelligence Committee or the House Oversight Committee, and you can come forward with your evidence. The Disclosure Foundation is a group that can help you with legal advice, free legal advice, to give you the ability to feel safe about coming forward as a whistleblower. There are steps that have been taken, legal protections that have been set up to protect whistleblowers. Indubitably, there are people out there that know something. If it was 30 years ago, those people that were involved in those retrievals are probably now retired and maybe sitting in a retirement home in, I don't know, Florida or Virginia somewhere, and thinking to themselves, what do I do with this evidence? Believe me, your evidence is important and you should come forward. If what we're being told is correct, we are being lied to by our governments about the existence of a non-human intelligence on this planet. What could be more important than the biggest story in human history? Andy?
This next one is more of a comment, but it dovetails out of what you were saying about who might have the remnants of this case. And the comment is from James Cooper Mason. The American companies controlling the development of these craft, allegedly that these craft are made out of, has made Senate members, Congress members rich from whatever they're smuggling. Can you just speak a little bit to the American, aerospace industry and their role in collecting?
Well, okay. We know it's a matter of public record that a number of aerospace companies are significant major donors to key chair people in some of the key oversight committees. Looks like the conference is about to start again. I don't know whether they're receiving quids directly, but certainly they're getting political donations. Here we go again.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Our next Brazilian witness, are we all here? Yes, good, mostly. All right. Our next Brazilian witness brings an essential perspective to one of the most difficult and still unresolved aspects of the Varginha case. The sudden and tragic, oh, no, wrong person.
Yep, no problem.
I told you, 3 a.m. There's not enough coffee.
We love you, Karen.
Thank you. All right, final Brazilian witness, Dr. Italo. No, wait. It's a physician specializing in neurology and neurosurgery with nearly 5 decades of experience in both clinical care and specialized neurological procedures. He is currently the leading neurosurgeon at Regional Hospital. He maintains a private practice and is also involved in healthcare management through his medical services company. For the first time in a public setting, we are honored to hear directly from Dr. Italo, who will describe his face-to-face interaction with a captured living being of advanced non-human intelligence, an apparent survivor of the Varginha crash. His experience represents one of the most significant developments in the history of UAP investigations. Dr. Italo.
Here we go. This should be really interesting.
Eu guardei grande segredo por 29 anos, dividindo este assunto com alguns colegas médicos, apesar de outros terem conhecimento do caso.
I held on to a very big secret for 29 years, sharing it only with a few medical colleagues, even though many others knew what I knew.
Em 2023, revelei ao time do James Fox que tinha visto vídeo onde havia uma criatura que não era humana.
In 2023, I revealed to James Fox and his team that I had seen a video of a non-human creature in the hospital on January 20th, 1996.
Depois de ter sofrido ataque cardíaco quase fatal, em 2024, criei coragem para dividir mais detalhes da minha experiência, apesar das preocupações com o possível impacto na minha carreira.
After suffering a near-fatal heart attack in 2024, I felt compelled to share more details of my experience, despite previous concern about consequences for my career.
Naquela tarde de 1996, eu estava trabalhando no Hospital Regional de Varginha, quando um colega meu, chamado Marcos Vinícius, com uma câmera muito grande, me chamou numa sala de urgência para ver um paciente.
That afternoon in 1996, I was working at Varginha Regional Hospital when my colleague and fellow neurosurgeon, Marcos Vinícius Neve, urgently called me into an improvised intensive care room. He was carrying a large video camera.
Ao entrar na sala, me mostrou uma câmera em preto e branco que parecia uma criança deitada numa cama com uma hidrocefalia extrema.
Upon entering, he showed me a black and white video on the camera screen that appeared to be a child lying in bed with an extreme case of hydrocephalus.
Perguntei, o que é isto? Ele apontou para uma cama onde estava deitado um ser. Eu me aproximei e, ao vê-lo, imediatamente percebi que não era humano.
I asked, "What is this?" He pointed past the makeshift partition where a being was lying. I got closer. The moment I looked at the being, I immediately knew it was not human.
Olhei para ele primeiramente com a perspectiva médica. Estava respirando bem, sem dificuldade. Parecia não estar com dor, consciente, não estava sangrando. Parecia bem, com um semblante muito calmo e tranquilo.
I first examined it with a medical perspective, breathing well, no apparent pain, conscious, no bleeding. It seemed fine, with a calm and serene expression.
Parecia uma criança de uns 7 anos. Um lençol coberto, até aqui, no corpo, né, até a cintura. Os olhos eram lilás, bem como o crânio.
It looked like a 7-year-old child with a sheet covering up to its waist. Its eyes were lilac and teardrop-shaped. The cranium was also teardrop-shaped.
A pele era branca, os braços bem finos, 3 dedos com o polegar opositor, não havia mamilo e uma boca pequena.
The skin was white, the arms were very thin, and the hand had 3 fingers and an opposing thumb. It had no nipples and a tiny mouth.
Ele olhou para mim, olhou para o céu de uma janela, olhou para mim novamente.
He looked at me, then looked at the blue sky through the window as if longing to be there, then looked back at me.
E a impressão que eu tive nessa segunda troca de olhar foi que ele tinha completa consciência do que estava acontecendo ao seu redor e da nossa intenção de ajudá-lo.
After that, I sensed it was fully aware of what was happening around it and our intention to help.
Senti que ele estava agradecido pelos cuidados, que queria ir embora.
I felt it was grateful for the care and wanted to leave.
A sua serenidade e a presença imponente me levaram a acreditar que eu estava na presença de um nível de inteligência muito elevado.
Its serenity and powerful presence led me to believe it had a very high level of intelligence and perception, higher than human beings.
Yes. Parecia um anjo, com a compreensão e compaixão em seu olhar, ciente de que estávamos fazendo o melhor que podíamos por ele, apesar das nossas limitações.
It seemed like an angel with understanding and compassion in its gaze, aware that, despite our limitations, we were doing the best we could for it.
Estou aqui perante vossa presença, com nada a ganhar, tudo a perder. Não estou vendendo nada e não estou pedindo dinheiro.
I stand before you with nothing to gain and everything to lose. I am not selling anything or asking for money.
Ainda trabalho como neurocirurgião. Estou aqui porque, principalmente para as novas gerações, eles merecem saber que há muito mais além do que a nossa existência humana. E eu sou uma testemunha. Thanks.
I still work as a neurosurgeon, and I am here because everyone, especially the younger generations, deserve to know there is much more beyond human existence, and I am eyewitness to the proof. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very powerful. What courage this doctor and the other witnesses are showing. I just hope they get the response they deserve.
We, Marco Leal, myself, and our team, Alini, we have somebody, I won't give too many details, but it's a mole in one of the hospitals several years ago. We meet, no phones, extremely paranoid, and this is the person you need to go talk to. If I were you, I'd go, it's like, this person saw the video. How do you know? Because I'm friends with the doctor who So we went after Italo. He did not come after us. And we were trying to find the video because obviously that's the holy grail. If anybody out there thinks that I'm not giving it everything I've got, if I sat there and told you all the efforts to get a hold of the photographic evidence, we'd be here till tomorrow. We found Italo, and I jokingly describe him as trying to grab a bar of soap in the bathtub. It was like he would kind of respond. He seemed like he was conflicted, and then he would not get back to us. And then finally he agreed to meet with Marco Leal and do a Zoom call. I think it was like 2023. And I was just fixated on the video. So I was asking him over the video with interpreter Marco Leal, did you see the video? Did you see the video? And now I've adopted the nickname, oh my God, because when I found out when he confessed to having seen the video, I was like, oh my God, where is it? Who shot it? Where, So we were like, all right, we're going back to Brazil. We're going to meet with the two forensic pathologists because that was a huge development. And now we had a potential lead to get our hands in the video. But we kept trying to get a hold of him over the next year. And then he had a heart attack after he admitted the video, but he wasn't willing to go anything further at that point. The video was as far as he was willing to go. He had a heart attack. And he said he was staring at the ICU, the ceiling, and thinking, I can't take this to the grave. If I get through this, I'm going to meet with James's team and I'm going to reveal all. So in 2025, in January, we went back to Brazil. We were meeting with Dr. Armando and Dr. Giannini, and we were talking about the autopsy and the tissue samples. And and by the way, Dr. Armando, could you get a hold of, of course, he's one of the most well-connected people within the medical community. Could you get a hold of Dr. Italo? Oh, yeah. Whips out his phone. Dr. Italo. They speak, and he says, meet him around the backside of the hospital tomorrow morning. The backside? So our team, we're not going to ask any questions. We're on the backside. He sneaks us in the back of the hospital, down through the various series of corridors, and then right into the ICU. And that's when he decided to drop the bomb. And he did. And it got us all off guard. So I just want to say, Dr. Italo, it takes tremendous courage for someone who's got so much to lose and nothing to gain. He's not making a dime. He's not selling a book. He's not trying to sell a documentary. He's still working on people's brains. So I know that courage is infectious, and it's strength in numbers. Today marks the 30th anniversary of this incident. We're going back to Brazil in a couple of days, meeting with the mayor. We're going to be giving presentations. So if anyone out there is listening to this, it's involved certainly on the American side, particularly on the Brazilian side. If you're ever thinking about coming forward, now's the time. We have a couple of closing statements that are very significant. I was contacted anonymously by a gentleman who happens to be sitting right over here, right after I did a big Joe Rogan appearance on this case when the first version of Moment of Contact was released. This guy was really smart. I get contacted by people all the time. But he was like, yeah, this is where you look, and the flight logs and this, because there was people coming forward in the Brazilian side saying, yeah, I saw the USAP flight come in. So finally, after like 3 months, anonymous correspondence, I said, excuse me, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm actually a retired United States Air Force colonel, and I'm also a fighter pilot, and I had a pretty dramatic UFO encounter back in 1980, which coincidentally was covered up. And okay, that explains it. So he eventually came forward. to share publicly his UFO encounter. But today he's here to talk about something I feel is extremely significant, and that is this potential flight that came in from the United States of America in January of 1996. So without further ado, Colonel Clausen, thank you so much for being here today. Here we go.
This will be interesting.
My name is Fred Clausen. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force bird colonel and fighter pilot. I have more than 4,000 hours of flying time in the F-15, the F-4, and I flew combat missions in the F-105 during Vietnam conflict. I was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross twice and held a top secret SCI clearance. While flying the F-15, I intercepted a UFO. I took gun camera film, which was immediately confiscated. But that's another story for another time. Today, I am speaking on another matter, a matter that requires world attention. According to several Brazilian authorities, including air traffic controller Marcos Freires, on or about the 20th of January, 1996, a U.S. Air Force cargo plane, most likely a C-17, took off from a base in the U.S. and it flew secretly into Brazilian airspace without flight clearance from Brazilian government, and it landed at Viracopos Airport in Campinas. While at Campinas, witnesses talked of it loading an unusual cargo, then departing to an unknown location in the United States. If true, I am certain that 30 to 40 Americans had direct knowledge of this flight and its purpose. I will now walk you through a potential paper trail this mission could have left behind.
Yes, this is great.
In order to secure a cargo plane,
this guy is great.
A specific protocol must be adhered to. The tasking would be sent to Air Mobility Command at Scott Air Force Base, Illinois, who has command authority over all U.S. Air Force cargo aircraft and refueling tankers. A paper trail has begun.
Yes.
Air Mobility Command transmits a mission order to the Air Mobility Wing at Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina. Another paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
At Charleston, a crew is selected for the mission and a C-17 cargo aircraft is made ready. The distance from Charleston to Campinas, Brazil is roughly 4,500 miles. The unrefueled range of a C-17 is about 2,500 miles. Therefore, air refueling by KC-135 would be required. More people in the know and another paper trail. An international flight plan to Brazil is required even if the mission is classified. Paper trail. On board the C-17 is a minimum crew of a pilot, co-pilot, and loadmaster. But due to the nature of the mission, probably more. Maybe CIA and a general officer.
Mm-hmm.
The C-17 lands at Campinas and must be refueled. Who pays for the fuel? And where's the receipt? Before departing Campinas, another international flight plan must be filed. Again, more paper trail. The C-17 flies back to the United States with tanker support and lands at an undisclosed location. As you can see from this possible scenario, I estimate that at least 30 to 40 Americans have direct knowledge of this mission.
Yes, yes.
So here's my plea today. If you were a participant
This guy is so awesome.
and have knowledge of the mission, come forward. You're probably retired now, in your 70s, maybe a little older like me, and have languished for 30 years with this knowledge. Come forward. We know this mission happened, and you know it too.
Yep.
Come forward. The time is now. Thank you.
What a great voice
What
on
a-
that guy.
What a stand-up guy Fred Claussen is. And he's absolutely right.
He looks like central casting. He looks like something out of a Quentin Tarantino movie. This guy doesn't even look real.
Colonel Clausen, that we actually, our team filed a FOIA request. And that FOIA request is in the latest cut of the film, New Revelations, Moment of Contact, New Revelations. And interestingly enough, we filed it in 2022. We got a response back 3 years later. And it was from the CIA.
Word.
It was like essentially, you know, because of the 1949 National Security Act, blah, 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 your request is denied. We can neither confirm nor, you know, just blah, 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 blah. So this is why I'm hoping certain members of Congress might consider using their strength to see what you can dig up. That was for you and the rest of you guys. That's why we did this. So
That's such a great point, and I've been saying this forever. Like you can have every witness in the world come forward with a compelling story, right? And they can have outstanding credentials and impeccable resumes, but it doesn't matter because even the weight of all that testimony doesn't move the needle. But what's going to move the needle is lawyers and accountants going in and looking at the books and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and what money is going where. And what he just said is exactly right. There's an enormous logistical footprint to this program. It's undeniable. There must be thousands and thousands of people with direct hands-on day-to-day knowledge of this stuff because it's happening. I mean, it's happening always somewhere, right? I mean, how many people are involved? He just outlined possibly 40, 50 people in one go. And that's just from the flight. So, yeah, you've got to look into the books. You've got to see the receipts. We have to find the paper trail. And then we have to start getting the people on the paper trail into a secure facility where they can be put under oath and then get their testimony. But there has to be a next step to this. Otherwise, it's just hamster wheel spinning and we're going nowhere. The stories are fascinating, and don't get me wrong, I love them. I always love hearing them. But if disclosure or if some kind of like post cover up positive outcome is what you want, then there has to be a more well articulated strategy with some more teeth to it. And it has to be more than just a piece of legislation that can be shot down. It has to be, you know, a specific understanding about what documents we need to look at and who needs to be looking at them. And it's going to have to be part of a much larger political push. I think it's going to have to center on an election year political issue somehow to give it the momentum it's going to need to see any kind of resolution, at least insofar as what we've been primed to expect.
Wrongdoing in classified programs that have been deliberately withheld from Congress. I want to outline several key points because Congress and the American people need to hear directly from more people with firsthand knowledge of legacy UAP programs. And right now, we're consistently informed there are many who do want to come forward, who believe Congress and the public have a right to know, but who are deterred by doing so, deterred from doing so by fear. Fear rooted in partially, at least, in misunderstanding of the law, and partly also in the very real examples and experiences of retaliation to people who have come forward. Potential whistleblowers worry about prosecution for violating NDAs, as I've mentioned. They worry about the loss, they're fearful of the loss of their security clearances, the loss of their employment, and other forms of retaliation that are very difficult and costly to challenge, even where formal avenues of appeal exist. It is true that protections for whistleblowers, particularly those handling classified national security information, are often weak in practice, despite the fact that there are laws and regulations ostensibly, well, they were passed and enacted to protect whistleblowers. Sources who possess information about U.S. government UAP activities or who have witnessed UAP events have consistently reported threats to their livelihood and even their personal safety. Harassment in some cases has been severe. It is publicly known, for example, that figures like David Grush and Lou Elizondo, who have not disclosed even firsthand information about legacy programs, have faced clear retaliation. However, and this point cannot be emphasized strongly enough, whistleblowers very likely do not need to fear prosecution for providing classified information about legacy programs to Congress, provided that they do so through secure channels. That is to say, you don't just tell them in a foyer of a Capitol Hill building. You need to arrange to be in a sensitive compartmented information facility in a SCIF. Okay, so what I mean to say is that laws and regulations are very clear on this point. NDAs prohibit sharing classified information with unauthorized individuals. But Congress is, by statute and regulations, an authorized recipient of classified information. NDAs cannot legally be used to withhold classified programs or associated wrongdoing from congressional oversight. This is explicit in law and regulation. Furthermore, the executive branch is required by law to report all special access and compartmented programs to Congress, regardless of their sensitivity. Failure to comply with these laws is unlawful and unconstitutional, certainly in the view of Congress. NDAs cannot be used as a shield to evade these obligations. Now, presidents have claimed, in quotes, plenary Article II authority over sensitive national security information. Plenary, if you look it up in the dictionary, means total, unfettered, unlimited, and so on. But this is an inferred power, not an explicit constitutional grant. That is, you don't see language in the Constitution that states this. Congress holds equally strong Article I authorities, entitling it to the information it needs to legislate. I'm confident personally that the government would lose any serious legal challenge asserting that Congress is not authorized to receive sensitive classified information covered by executive branch non-disclosure agreements. In reality, for the reasons cited, although officials may threaten prosecution, as far as I can tell, and those of other colleagues that I've worked with on this, no one has ever been prosecuted for providing classified information to Congress. Such a prosecution would require showing harm to national security, a claim nearly impossible to sustain when the disclosure is made to Congress itself. For these reasons, I believe the government would not pursue legal actions against whistleblowers who provide protected UAP disclosures to Congress in a secure setting. Judges, Congress, and the American people would not tolerate prosecuting individuals for revealing truths that demonstrate Congress has been misled has been lied to about issues of profound importance. But the fear of such actions, this Alice in Wonderland dynamic, remains a powerful deterrent, and it must be addressed. So what can be done? There is, in fact, a straightforward solution. With the stroke of a pen and a public statement, even a social media post, the president could explicitly affirm that federal law allows protected disclosures to Congress, because Congress is an authorized recipient of classified information covered by NDAs. It could be that simple. If the president or his cabinet members will not make this clear, then Congress should. In addition, congressional committees already possess the authority to grant immunity in exchange for testimony. That is to say, NDAs aside, if you appear in front of a congressional committee that has offered you immunity for your testimony, you cannot be prosecuted for doing so. However, even if the threat of prosecution is largely a bluff, other forms of retaliation are real and damaging. These include the fabrication or exaggeration of allegations of security violations for individuals, leading to indefinite clearance investigations or revocations, manufactured claims of misconduct or poor performance to justify termination of employment, black marks placed in security files preventing future employment, reassignment, isolation, marginalization, or hostile work environments, administrative leave, placing individuals on administrative leave with or without pay. For contractors, sudden, quote, changes to government requirements that simply eliminate their position and their job. And if an individual must take another job during an appeals process simply to survive financially, because it takes months and months and months to grind through these appeals processes, simply to survive financially, they may be forced to take another job. Well, if you take another job, you lose standing to pursue your case, typically. Whistleblowers can face financial ruin, as you can see, especially as legal expenses accumulate. Congress must address this fundamental problem and incentivize potential whistleblowers to come forward by establishing a rapid, assured mechanism to compensate them for lost wages and expenses. Some may ask, understandably, why UAP whistleblowers deserve special consideration over other whistleblowers. The answer to me is straightforward. The stakes are extremely high when it comes to this topic. Few would dispute that the discovery of non-human intelligence visiting Earth would be an event of profound significance. The executive branch appears determined to keep this information secret at the highest levels, making this a major policy decision, one that could place officials assigned to protect whistleblowers, such as inspectors general, in direct conflict with senior policymakers. These factors distinguish UAP-related disclosures from typical cases of fraud, waste, and abuse. Congress may need to take a more active role, even than I've suggested so far, in protecting these individuals, potentially by creating and administering a dedicated restitution fund and modifying current law to allow whistleblowers to go directly to Congress without first filing a complaint with an inspector general.
That's awesome.
That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. It's a complex issue. People just go, well, why don't they just come forward? It's so easy. It's actually not. So just trying to create an environment to enable people that do want to come forward, firsthand metal benders, people that are working in the labs. And I think it's important for not just the public to understand, but making the plea to members of Congress. The stakes are so high because I'm convinced, obviously I can't prove it right now, that they're hiding definitive proof that we're not alone. And I understand the need for potential national security related issues on the technology. If it falls into the wrong hands, and they weaponize it, Okay, I understand that. Maybe there's the acknowledgement that we have it, but the biologics, that to me, that doesn't pose a national security threat. So why can't we release information on the biologics?
Unless
Now,
that is the weapon.
we have a closing statement, then we're going to open up the floor to Q&A. We have the space all day. And then eventually we'll open it right up. So if you guys want to directly interact with the witnesses, they'll be here for that. But without further ado, I'd love to invite Representative Bertelsen on stage to say a few. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. James Fox. It's an honor to be with you today. Look, shortly after the film by Oliver Stone was released about the assassination of JFK, Congress took action and passed the JFK Disclosure Act unanimously. They wouldn't have done that had it not been for an outcry from the public that was demanding answers. And it's my hope that your film and others like it will create that kind of momentum and that outcry. Because the truth is, if there's any government that's holding information about the knowledge of whether or not we are alone or not alone in the universe, that is not for any government, no matter how powerful it is, to withhold from the rest of humanity. We are here to serve the people. This government belongs to you. You don't belong to the government. And never forget that. And so I'm here to serve you, to try to get the truth to the people. We're working diligently to do that in the committee that I'm on. And I have a responsibility in that regard. I want to say thank you to these courageous individuals, my new friends from Brazil.
Muito obrigada aos meus novos amigos brasileiros.
Thank you for your courage and your willingness to, risk your reputations and your careers for something that will benefit not just the people of Brazil, but the rest of the world. Thank you.
Obrigado pela sua coragem de arriscar a sua reputação por algo que vai beneficiar não só os brasileiros, mas o mundo inteiro.
I want to say thank you to Kirk McConnell. He and others have been doing an amazing job at pushing this forward in a thoughtful way, helping people like me. I was a financial advisor and a software consultant, had no idea when I ran for Congress that I would be doing this. But folks like him have been extremely helpful, and I couldn't do it without you. Thank you. And Colonel, I can't wait to get to know you more. Thank you so much for coming forward today. You're an inspiration for the rest of those who have served. Courage is contagious, and you're an inspiration, and hopefully you'll compel more people to come forward. Appreciate that. We've been given marching orders. We have legislation that we need to pass. We've heard from a lot of witnesses. It's time for action, and it's time to get the receipts.
Yes.
So it's time to pass the UAP Disclosure Act.
Yes. Yes. Balls to the wall.
And it's time to pass whistleblower protection within that or a separate act.
Put it all in one.
But I go back to my original statement. The reason why so much information is currently today being released consistently, that the agencies of this federal government never wanted to see the light of day, is because Congress took action, because the people demanded it. And I'm asking you, everyone here, and all the reporters here, and Leslie Keene, thank you for the brave work that you did with the report in 2017. You destigmatized. That one story destigmatized this entire topic and made it so that people could come forward. We need more people like Leslie Keene. We need reporters that are brave, that are willing to publish stories, and we need the social media warriors out there to continue to spread that information.
Nice.
Act and push on members of Congress, because otherwise they won't do anything about it. Thank you again, and I'm proud to serve.
Awesome. Go Eric Burleson. What a guy.
Very interesting message from Eric Burleson.
nailed it.
The public need to let Congress know they care about this issue. That's fundamental. The wheel that squeaks gets the grease in politics. If you don't stand up and tell your politicians that you're concerned about this, nothing's going to happen.
Wow. Well, that is true, and I don't disagree with you there, Ross. But that is that's it, guys, for today. I want to know what you think in the chat. I'll have more to say on this tomorrow when I've had a chance to digest it. But yeah, this is really interesting. It's I'm going to take a look in the chat here. Maybe for a government that says it's going to spurn world peace because Norway didn't award the Nobel Peace. Oh boy. Oh boy. You will be assimilated. Yeah, great witnesses today, guys. And the Colonel is absolutely right. There's a paper trail. There's a real paper trail. And it's substantial. And I think if Congress really wanted to get down to business, that would be a great place to start. Just fund a little office that's all they do. It's a bunch of attorneys and accountants, and they go in and, I don't know, audit the shit out of these groups involved in fueling the airplanes and logging the flight logs and whatever. I mean, just go get them. At some point, we've got to move on from hearing witness testimony to actually acting on witness testimony and then following through with some kind of overall vision. And I think Burleson's got a great point. The Disclosure Act, in and of itself, by itself, is a great start, but you also need to include whistleblower protections in that, or you need to have that in place first, almost as like a foundational piece, so that people have the cover to come forward and survive that process of being out of work, being tied up in court, being, dealing with paperwork, having no health care. I mean, the whole process of coming forward with whistleblower testimony and bringing that information to Congress in the first place is an enormous mountain to climb. And then once it gets to Congress, they have to have enough pressure and support to act on it. But I don't know, guys. I think I've been a little bit down on this issue lately because I thought for sure if anybody was ever going to act on anything, it would have been the Epstein files. And we saw how that got dragged out and turned into a complete shit show. So, do you expect UFO truth disclosure to be any different than that? Maybe. I guess maybe it could. It's the ultimate distraction. There's nothing bigger. I mean, maybe a nuclear holocaust might be larger than a presidential disclosure. But if you get that card one time, you can play it one time, ever. And I think if there was ever a president crazy enough to do it, it would be Donald Trump. I just don't see that. I don't know. I don't see it happening. Sherry Lee in the chat, just what I needed. Truth, great people, and so inspiring. Blessings to that creature and all those benevolent others that we have injured. I'm so sorry. Please forgive us. Yeah, Q&A is still on News Nation. I've got to bounce because I didn't actually plan to do a live stream today, so this was sort of a last minute thing. But if you want to watch the rest of this, you can go to News Nation's YouTube channel and finish it there. But Yeah, I mean, think about it. The fund a whistleblower protection plan. They just gave ICE a larger budget than the United States Marine Corps. Surely we can find a few $1 million laying around to fund a whistleblower protection plan that includes some kind of at least government, funded healthcare for them, and just some basics, something to keep people functional for a year or 5 while they deal with all of the legal craziness. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Did it move the needle for you? I think it moved the needle quite a bit. We had some very, very interesting firsthand testimony, and that's all on record now. It's hard to walk this stuff back. In terms of actual disclosure, does it get us any closer? That I don't know. Let me know what you think. But in terms of convincing me and everyone else that this is a very real thing, I think this goes quite a long way. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the chat. I will see you guys tomorrow on Members Only Wednesday, and then we'll be back again on Friday to talk about this with the roundtable panel discussion. That's it for now, guys. Thanks. I'll see you on the next one. Keep looking up.